Pumpkin punch! Woo! Alright, so last episode I did kind of a tutorial on this filter, and this episode I'm pretty much doing a tutorial on this filter. Not a full tutorial, but kind of going over everything that's changed and been added. So it's quite a bit different, but everything that was talked about last time should still work. So it should still work with old projects and stuff. So yeah, let's just get to it here. I'm trying to figure out a good way to do a tutorial. I mean, they're not fun, you know? So this is my way, I guess. This is actually kind of the way I like to do it. I'll set it up, organize an area here, and this map will kind of be downloadable. So this kind of gives an example of everything that it can do, and this helped me like test the thing, and we found a bunch of bugs with it. So it kind of helped out figuring all this out. So basically, from the beginning, is it activates spawner through redstone. Redstone activation spawners. So it'll spawn once, and that's it. You can do it as many times as you like. Going. And what it's basically doing is it's just destroying a minecart spawner, and it'll spawn a nice fresh block every time. And an easy way to set this up is we set it up so everything's activated through signs. You just run the filter over a set of signs with a specific little symbols on it, and it'll work. The new way here we set up is %S, which stands for the source sign, and %D, which stands for the destination sign. So you need to put this sign where the source is, and this sign where the destination sign is. And to make these tell that they can go together, you just need to add a colon and then add whatever you want after it. It can be test1, it could be whatever, it could be just one. Just put 1. And when I go here, %D, I'll just do 1. So these two will link up to each other, and you can run the filter over several things with different IDs, and it'll only work on each of these. Now, to have it select what block you want to spawn, is you just put the source sign on top of the block. So this converts the stone block into, and spawns it there. So it converts the block into the source spawner, and then it converts the sign into the minecart spawner. So yeah, it's a source solid spawner that spawns a minecart spawner, which spawns a block. That's all it is. And this is what I'm using to activate it through redstone. It has it's just a little short pulse creator. I like this type. I don't like the piston. People like the piston type. I hate the piston type. They cause more lag. The whole point of this is to reduce the amount of lag. Trying to get as much lag as we can get down, get rid of as much of it as we can. Pistons aren't very nice for that. I don't know. I don't trust them a lot of the time. They're good to use for some things, though. So, that's all it is. It's a dispenser that dispenses lava, destroys the minecart, and if you leave it open like this, the lava does have like a split-second chance to flow. Should only take a few tries here. I might have to cut to it. Oh, there it is. So it'll flow if you don't kind of trap it up here. I usually put glass here or something. Just kind of surround it, stop the lava from flowing out anywhere. I don't have fire tick on right now, so it'll be alright on here. You can chain them together, spawn 2 things. So this just runs into both of them here. There's 2 blocks. Sweet. And Then you can customize it. So pretty much all it is just %s and %d, and then you just link them together, and that's kind of the standard. I'll even actually, I have MCEdit open. I could show you. Log out. Quick. So all you do is just run it over these little blocks, and just open the filter. It's right down here, TrazLander spawner filter, and just make sure create spawners is selected. I'm going to go ahead and clone this and put it over here. So just make sure create spawners is selected. You could use these other options to do some stuff. I went over those last episode. Check that out. I don't want to go over them again. I think this was actually added. This will clear all signs, clear the text off of all the signs that you have selected. So it'll just empty them out. Just a little option that was added. But you can use this to add variables and remove variables. And we're going to go over the variables here, but let's go ahead and create the spawners. Create spawners, filter, save. And there it is. And when we log back into the game, and there it is. Cool. Now, some people have been complaining about how slow MCEdit is because of how, like, you have to log in and out of the game. I don't understand that, because, I mean, I've never really had that, like, much trouble with it. I mean, just create, save, Control-S, save, Control-R is reload, and that's it. So I could just click back in. That's it. I don't, it's so fast. I don't get it. I don't know what people are complaining about. I'll do it slower here. There, I click over in MCEdit, I have it open here, I click reload, so it reloads the area, otherwise it won't, like, save correctly. It's like up here, it'll show reload, Control-R, and then do what you need to do. You can run it again, copy another one. Oops, I'm going to copy it over there. Create spawners, filter, save, Control-S, save for everything. Click back into the game, that's it. Yeah. Anyway, so next, it works on blocks, and it also works on chests. You don't have to change anything if it's a chest. The chest can be full of items. Be a nice grid of items there, and it'll spawn a chest. Now there is a little bugginess with chests. Like you notice this one's supposed to be facing this way, but it's not. It turned on me here. So if I place any kind of block, it'll face itself away from whatever wall was placed. So that's just kind of a bug that's in the game. I think it might have to do with how dungeons are generated and them facing away from walls and dungeons when they're generated. I don't know. But when there's nothing around it, they always face south. Yep. Let's see. What do we got? Variables. We're back to variables. So if you had a variable to assign, pretty much anything, let's see, this one's, if I added BT, which is burn time, so it adds some burn time to this furnace, and DR, which is drop item, so it'll allow the item to drop. Now what those mean is that if this if it can't land, see I try to spawn another one, it can't land, so it drops the item. It doesn't drop all the stuff that was in here, but it does drop the item on the ground. Like if I try to spawn this one again, it doesn't drop item. You have to add that to the sign to make that work. This was basically me testing and making sure all the variables worked for different situations. You can add it to the destination sign by just putting BT and DR, and so that's what the symbols are. And then you see there's a parenthesis D. If you add the D in front of it, it'll work from the source sign on the destination sign. Yeah, hard to explain. Basically, just think of the source sign as referring to everything that this solid spawner here does. And the destination sign refers to everything that the minecart spawner does. So if you want the minecart spawner to spawn a furnace with a longer burn time, you're going to have to add it to the destination sign. But if you want to add it to the source sign, the reason you would do that is so you can have two different things pointing to the same destination. I can add another source sign here, and it can have the same %SA3B, and it can have a different burn time. So I can add a different, make it 200. And so these will both point to this destination, but this one will have a different burn time than this one. This furnace here is special. It's not 61, give 62. That one. It's an infinitely burning furnace. It doesn't update till it finishes burning, so like this one over here did update, so finish burning. It only burns 2 things. Let's see. Max. So if you add max, any of the like kind of things you can add numbers to, we try to add a max version of it. So if you put max on the end, it'll equal the longest amount of time possible, which is 27 minutes and 18 seconds. So this will just make it burn, there it goes. This will make it burn pretty much the whole stack, maybe longer, I don't even know. And this only burned 2, this one's already done. But, yep, and this one has drop item too, so it pops out. So, I'll quickly go down here through the list of variables, just add them to the signs. Again, this world is up for download. You can kind of look and kind of see an example of everything here. This is multi. You can kind of also set the minimum spawn delay and the max spawn delay. Like this one, let's see. This one was set so the minimum spawn delay is 10, the max spawn delay is 30, so it'll go anywhere between 10 and 30. And then this one's set to 10, so it'll always go to 10. So this one will kind of keep going at 10, and then this will go randomly between 10 and 30. Customize it like that. Multi takes away the single spawn property. See, this will only spawn once. But if you add multi, we jerry-rigged it so that it only spawns once. If you add multi, it'll take that away and make it infinitely spawn, which triggers once, and that's just constantly spawning. So you can't really shut it off without a method I'll talk about later, without breaking it. And then I'll shut it off. This changes the coordinates. You can add X, Y, Z, and it'll kind of move it over. So this moves it up 4, Y, 1, Z, 1. This moves it slightly off to the side. We've added more things. Let's see, velocity. This will add a velocity to the block as it's falling, which this one comes straight at you. Woo-hoo. What do I add? Just 0.5, 0.5, 0.5x, which is this way, I guess, and 0.5y, which is up, so it kind of gives an arc. Is it going to land on top? Hey, it did. It tried to go all the way up. Go. It landed up there. So weird looking. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, that went all the way up. That's funny. This is fun. Fun to play with. This is delay, so you can add :D, and it'll add a delay. This one's about 3 or 4 seconds, so it adds a little time before it spawns. This is good for setting up a whole bunch of spawners at once, and then instead of adding redstone delay, you can actually add just more to this D value. This one's set to 60 for 3 seconds. So, time. This is the time manipulation. So I'm changing a top slab into a bottom slab. Yeah, same thing here. This is just me testing and making sure it all works under different conditions. Works on the destination sign and works on the source sign. Yeah, a thing about time I didn't actually talk about. You need it helps to add a make it so it doesn't spawn directly at the height of a half slab. If you spawn it directly at the height of a half slab, it does weird things sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't spawn. It depends on the block. If there's an air gap below it, it completely destroys the block, which is funny. That's a really easy way to destroy a block, but you can only really destroy a half slab by spawning a block at the exact height of a half slab. I don't know. And there has to be an air block. I don't know, there's so many weird conditions that make that possible. So this makes that not happen. It's just by spawning it 0.25 lower, just so it doesn't spawn it directly at the height of the half slab. It spawns slightly below it, like halfway down it. Bink, bink, cute. This is multi again. Wait, did I talk about multi already? Oh yeah, that one's going off. This is multi with time. So if you do that on a block that is the same block, it'll make it so you can create this earthquake effect. So it's constantly destroying and replacing the block, and it's just popping up and down. I actually raised the height up a little bit, so I only lowered it down by 0.75. So so just to make it so it pops up a little bit every time. It's really cool. This is cool too. Oh yeah, destroy the block and add some velocity. Woo! We're asking if you could do this, and yeah, didn't have a problem with it. Pink. Woo! Deletes the block, adds some velocity to the falling sand, throws it over there. The velocity's fun. I'm gonna keep playing with it. This is all for, these are all the anvil values. So this will edit like falling damage from a anvil. So it'll make it, you could pretty much make it so that anvil will instantly kill you the second it spawns if you touch it. And it's actually checking if it intersects you or a mob. So like this mob's on this half slab, and the falling sand is actually getting destroyed when it lands on the half slab. But the second it touches the villager, it kills him. It manages to kill him even before the thing's destroyed. And you could do this, you could set these values with any sand entity. Like a watermelon. Set it with a chest full of items. Some of them have different weird looking graphics to them. Like that one looks like wood, oak wood when it falls. You could even set it to a dead bush. Kill a villager with a dead bush. Oh, hilarious. Oh, and now we get to int. Int. If you add int on the source sign, this is, basically the source spawner and the source sign and the destination sign. And if you add int to the source sign, you can convert an item or a mob into a spawner and make it spawn. So any of these don't have ent on them, the ENT there. But if you do add ent, you can use it to spawn an item or a mob. So this will just spawn the item. You can add, there's a couple little variables you can add. You can make the item invulnerable. You could add some age, so it'll take longer to despawn. Just do TNT. So these are invulnerable. They shouldn't get destroyed. All the minecarts will get destroyed. So, well, there they are. They didn't get destroyed, I think. Can't tell. Right down here? I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, it should make them invulnerable. I'll have to double check that. It's hard to tell. So age will make them stay there longer and add to their max life, which you can add max to make it even longer, or make it the maximum amount of time, which is, you can only set it to 32 minutes and 18 seconds. Like this, I kind of set as long as I could, and it's at you know, it was set to 32 minutes, so it'll spawn eventually, but it won't last there forever. So these will last a really long time. Stacked item entities. This is possible. Oh yeah, the one thing that I'm doing over here is I'm converting. If you put ent on a sign, it'll convert an item that's below it. So I could just throw an item down there. I want my torch back. I could throw an item down there, and it'll convert that and spawn it as an item if I throw it below the source sign. But to make it so that I can run the filter later and not have to worry about this despawning, I can stick it in a chest. And if ent is on the sign, if it finds a chest, it'll convert the first item that it finds in the chest first. So this is spawning, these are spawning sponge over here, because that's what's in this chest. Now, there's another part of this. If there's more than one item in this chest, it'll create a stacked entity. So, it's supposed to create a stacked entity. I'm in 1.5.2 right now. So it's kind of bugged at the moment. It'll work in next patch. It's been fixed. So check it out. It's awesome. This will stack as I might slice in a clip of it working here. Yeah. So, let's see, villager. So it'll work the same way on a villager as it did on the item over there. So if you just put the villager below the sign, convert him into a spawner. Think. Hey guy. It'll work on zombies too. There's a lot of comments about having issues spawning zombies and mobs and stuff, and I don't know. There's a couple things that you might have experienced. Like, for one thing, this isn't spawning it right away. For one thing, zombies need, darkness. And another thing that I discovered, I didn't even realize this, the minecart needs a 2-space gap above it to spawn the zombie. I guess it spawns the zombie above it for a split second before it puts it there or something? I don't know. But, basically, let me just go ahead and put that there. If I pop that, it immediately spawned the zombie. So if I click that again, it'll spawn a new zombie. But if I put this here, and don't allow a 2-block gap above it, it won't be able to spawn. So just make sure you have space above the minecart spawner. Nice 2-block space. Make sure it's night. It's like pushing it around. My thing went off. It's the same thing here. But, this one's done another way. Oh, he got in there and killed the zombie. Or killed the villager. No! What have you done? They don't just, flat out kill the villager. Time set. Let's go back to 1000. So, this one's done a different way. This zombie was converted straight from a zombie sitting here. And if I'm working in, under difficulty peaceful or something, it'll destroy the zombie and make him despawn. If I'm, working on the map, it'll clear him. It should have. Oh, I have a clock going that's setting it the difficulty. It didn't have time to destroy him. That's funny. Well, anyway, you can convert this zombie into a spawner. Just like it's pulling an item out of a chest, think of it the same way. If it's pulling an item out of a chest, it'll pull it out of a spawner, too. So, this was kind of Texelelf's handiwork. I didn't even think of this. It's awesome. So you can convert the zombie into a spawner. This spawner is set up especially to have a player range of 0, so it can't actually detect me and spawn or anything. See, the zombie inside of there isn't spinning or anything. But when you run the filter over it, it's going to set all that stuff up, like the player range and everything, and allow the zombie to spawn. So yeah, you could do that for same thing, villager spawners. This also has the yaw and the pitch set. Yaw and pitch is meant for mob facing or any kind of item facing or something. I guess player facing too. So it'll set player facing on yawn, pitch, and stuff is under your player profile. But it looks kind of funny because it spawns facing downward. How I have those set up. You can set these really funny. They can have their head like embedded in their bodies and stuff when they spawn. It looks hilarious. Let's see. You could do the same thing for any entity. So I did it for mobs. You can even do it for an item spawner, custom potions and stuff. Or you can do it for a firework. So this one, same thing. Player range set to 0, so it's not able to spawn on me here. But when I convert it into run the filter on it, it'll create a fireworks spawner. Pretty cool. Same thing, prime TNT. That one's spawning a bit farther away. So that's a normal TNT. Good 8 seconds before it explodes. And went ahead and set up the variables for prime TNT too. So you can set the fuse from the signs. You could do it from the spawner and it'll pull it right out of the spawner and use whatever properties are on this. Like I could set the fuse and everything. I can go into MCEdit. Let me go back out. Reload. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete these actually. I'll show you. So I delete those. If I want to set this up, all I have to do is go to filter and go down to, I use Texelelf's unified spawner filter. I'm going to create a TNT entity, so I'm just going to go to entity type and set primed TNT. So that's ready to explode TNT. I can go ahead and set the values over wherever it is. Fuse length, I can make this shorter. TNT blast radius, I can make this bigger. Or I could just set this. Oh yeah, make sure player detection radius is set to 0. Otherwise, that'll just start exploding on you. So it can't trigger until you run the other filter on it. So this is a perfectly like a dud TNT spawner that's set up. So I can literally just paste this anywhere and it'll work just the same. It's a dud anyway. And then just run the filter on it with the signs, and it'll convert it into a TNT spawner. So I'm going to go ahead and post this here. Same thing, paste this one here. And this is a fireball spawner. I could do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's do fill. Let's do fireball. And fireball only has fireball explosion power. We also added that variable too, so you could just set that on the signs. Go ahead and save. Click back into the game. And where am I? Okay. So the fuse for these is set to 0, and the explosion radius is set to 10. So it has a little bit more of explosion radius, and the fuse is like immediately, so it should explode instantly there. I guess explosion radius 10 is about the same. This is a fireball spawner. This, with an explosion radius of 20, does this. Whew, I still have it set a little far. It scatters everywhere. I have fire tick off, so it's not going to burn anything. But yeah, that's just an explosion radius of 20. You know, this will actually not destroy anything with like tile drops off, which is cool. I found that out recently. Okay, so now this is what I talked about before. This is what we've been working on to make it work. This is an easy way to set up spawners. Basically, instead of doing a whole chain of these things here, and just anymore, and you can set this up, and you can have it automatically set up the spawning radius and the max entity count to spawn a whole wall just from this little unit here, all activated at the same time from this one little redstone pod here. So this generates the wall, this destroys it. Seth Blaine came out with a little filter that kind of does this same type of thing. This has a little more user control and edit value. Like this, I can copy and paste these anywhere, and it'll still work the same. And this is basically all it is. It's the destination signs along here, and this has the source sign on every one of the blocks that you want to spawn. And there's a new kind of main value, which is the %m, which is the midpoint. And this is the midpoint sign. So if this is here out by itself, and you have it linked to all the source signs, it'll spawn everything here. So this is all really it is. M1 can be anything. It's the same thing, but it has to have its own kind of unique value. So this can be test1, whatever. It can be whatever you want. And so I had to set this up over here. So this is M1, and up here is M2, so that they all don't link together. But I was able to run the filter over this whole little unit here by itself. And yeah, so that's it really for the %M1, %M sign. You can set up all the little extra tags and everything on the source signs or on the destination signs the same way. Everything's the same. And this is a completely optional variable. You see, we're getting like more complicated farther we're getting along here. So you can start out with a basic kind of one-on-one spawner, or you can start grouping them together like this. This doesn't have any variables set up, so it's not really. It's just gonna spawn a wall. Now, along with this midpoint sign, we've added some more variables, and one of them's comb, which also stands for combine. And if you add combine to the midpoint sign, it'll combine all of these blocks into a single randomizer. So it'll spawn once, and it'll spawn a single block every time. So this is a random number generator. This is a 20 random number generator. It's a random block generator here. It'll spawn any of these 20 blocks completely randomly here. It's doing that by this source spawner is constantly flipping through each of these as randomly as possible. Or, yeah, randomly, completely random. So it's completely going through these numbers all the time. And when you hit the button, you're going to get one of those numbers, and that's it. Black wool, red wool, gray wool. Like how the minecarts even shows what it spawned. It lingers and even shows you what it had spawned. So I also used this to create an actual redstone activated random number generator. And this kind of does the same thing. Like, this didn't need anything. This has no special variables on it whatsoever. All it is just the destination sign, all little source signs. That was it. I got a random block generator. But this needed a little bit more. I changed the Y value so stuff can spawn at this pressure plate. So what I'm doing here is I'm using time 0. Now, when a block is spawned, it's instantly destroyed after a couple ticks. So it does have a little bit of time to actually trigger a wooden pressure plate, which is kind of cool. So the block is instantly getting destroyed, but it does have a little bit of time to trigger this wooden pressure plate. And it's activated these redstone lamps, it's activating these repeaters, and this creates a spawner activated random number generator. I can copy and paste this and move it anywhere. I can remove some of these blocks here. I can add more. So this will completely have a weighted random number generator. You can actually add the weight, like WT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will actually spawn more than this one. This one will spawn more than this one. This one will spawn more than this one, and so on. So we'll usually get the wood block, or should in theory, as long as weight's. I think weight is working. Maybe not. Oh, there goes the wood. I think I know how that works. Maybe it's more with the 5. I don't know. Look up weight values, look up how they work, and then you can set kind of how often blocks spawn, and kind of have a weighted version of a random number generator here. This could be anywhere from 2 to hundreds, thousands, whatever. So it's a really, I love this kind of random number generator. This is a really nice to use. You can have any number from 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes like setting up a 3 random number generator was really weird, but this, I mean, I can just knock out 3 of these, or make it only 3 of these, or 5 of these, which I have here. So it's really cool. I love this. Another variable added. We added a few things to the midpoint sign here. So one of them's comb. If you use comb on the midpoint sign, it'll combine them all. If you use stack, it'll stack them all into a single spawner that spawns a stack of spawners, which is, it's buggy. Like, I don't even have it filtered here. I'll show you though. I mean, right now there's a bug, which I should be doing this in the snapshot, but the snapshot's like broken spawners too, so whatever. Save. So that has the stack value to it, and as you can see, it's not very good. This is a current bug in 1.5.2. If you see my entity count, it's constantly going up, so it's creating clone entities. Now, Dinnerbone supposedly fixed this in the latest snapshot, so that's cool. But these are all cloned entities. Hopefully that's okay now. Let me see. Oh, go away. Too many. Even then, like, stacked spawners have like an offset, so they'll stack really high, and then they're hard to get in the same spawn range and everything. They're annoying. How'd you get way over here? Jeez. Let's see. So this is the same thing. And the third thing we added to it was multi, which is used on normal blocks for the source sign and everything. But we also added it to the midpoint sign. And doing it here will make it constantly run these random numbers. So it'll add everything, instead of like this one down here is spawning it from the source spawner, is spawning a random minecart every time. Now this one down here, it creates the minecart, which is constantly running through all the random numbers. See, the issue with this is it's tricky to shut off, but this is really cool. I'm going to use this for, I don't know, I like this one the best. This one's my favorite. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same minecart. It'll just randomly spawn things. But I'm definitely going to use this for stuff like this. A once triggered fireworks display that you can specifically set up where the fireworks spawn. You can set up each firework individually. There's 5 different fireworks here. Again, the player range is set to 0, so these can't trigger right now. But when they're converted through the filter, it creates this. This is loud and noisy, and you need to destroy it to shut it off. I went and jerry-rigged a little thing here to be able to shut it off. Basically, that's constantly spawning, and to get it to shut off, I needed to push a new minecart into place. So that's what this is doing. So this pushes that down while this is getting destroyed down here, just so it shuts it off. Now, the thing about these is minecarts block spawning. I could actually have this stop spawning up here. Like, that's a little too high. I think one lower. If I kill that, then this prevents it from spawning, even though it's 4 blocks above it. And that's just because that's how spawn range is. Spawn range is weird. Spawn range is... it's weird, annoying to deal with, because it has weird properties to it. Spawn range is always plus and minus 4, so this is able to spawn because there's no minecart like within the 4 above it and 4 below it, so that's able to spawn. But this one's this one's 3, only 3, and then this is the 4th, the minecart's 4. So it's not able to spawn anything until I destroy that. So, just because, so if it was up there, it wouldn't have been able to spawn. Same thing here, same downward. If that's able to spawn. Yeah, spawn range, it's always 4. So just be careful when you're setting up like these clumps of spawners. These, down here, this clumps of spawners here, these need to be within that 4 high range to spawn this. So these can be a little lower, these can be down good maybe 3 blocks lower or so, or higher. I could even stack these a little bit. I have a unit of these up here. I can put these 2 rows up 2 higher and have them above this set, and it'll work. But it has to stay within 4 blocks high and 4 blocks low. Actually, no, the spawner needs to, the minecart needs to be 4 blocks. Okay, so it has to be like that. Yeah, stupid. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. So you have to just make sure the midpoint is within this range to make this work. So, and you could put as many spawners around it as you like. You could put this over top it over here. You can move it over here if you want, or whatever. Kind of group things up a little better. So that's spawn range for the height. Now for the horizontal, it's also annoying. If you add 1 to spawn range, it adds 2 to spawn range. So this is spawn range 1, and so it adds outward. Now this, I found this, if you make spawn range 0, it checks this, exactly this, no more. These 4 blocks here, I guess the spawner in the middle, and then the 4 blocks high. So this is actually the new default for spawn range. So you can actually group up your little systems even closer, because the default before was spawn range 1. So if there was any spawners like out here, it would have issues spawning. But now this gives more room. I didn't know I thought spawn range 0 would make it so it can't spawn or something, but apparently it can spawn. It spawns a new minecart. And this is spawn range 1, so same thing. If you add spawn range 2, it makes it 4 outward. If you make spawn range 3, it makes it 6 outward. Yeah. And that's about everything. I forgot something down here. Fire hole. Most of this stuff was me debugging things, so this is all kind of the other variables. These are things that can be applied to the source spawner and to the minecart spawner. Mostly, I don't think anything much else can be. But player range, required player range, you can change that. Max nearby entities, spawn range, change spawn count, and then this is all the max, min-max delay. It'll do error corrections if like the minimum delay is higher than the maximum delay, it'll make them both the maximum delay. So this is max 20. And this one, you can all of these you can set a max value to it, which is 32 minutes. This you can set the range from low to high, so it'll be anywhere between 20 and 50. That was almost it. Maybe I set that up wrong. Let's see. Oh yeah, and if min spawn delay, if only one of them is put there, then the max, like the other one, will be the same. So if I only put XD, then MD will equal XD. And if I only put XD, or MD, XD will equal MD. And that's it. I don't think there's anything else. Again, you can download this map, kind of see all the little, everything kind of laid out here, and check it out. And that's about it. Thanks for watching.